Hello, my friends. Welcome to my basement. It's Tuesday. It's a beautiful day because it's the Josh Allen day. Number 17, quarterback one of the Buffalo Bills, will be coming in just shortly. We have all kinds of things to cover. Everything that happened in Chicago back over Christmas weekend. Massive game coming up this weekend as we get towards that beautiful playoff run. We also have to hear his thoughts on the movie Tombstone and potentially the movie Avatar as well. It's our first ever Josh Film Festival double feature. Lots to talk to him about. And who was the member of the Buffalo Bills organization who was driving around with a glacier on the back of his SUV? I asked you. I still don't know if we have a decisive answer. We'll ask Josh. Plus everything in the world of football, all kinds of things going on with the Broncos, the Chargers, your favorite team and your least favorite team. It is all part of what I love, what I hate, and what is hilarious. Let's go. Hello, like I said, we start with what I love, and you know what? This is not something that I say much, and maybe people at large don't say much. I like the Chargers. No, the segment is called Love. I love the Chargers. The Chargers are in the playoffs. It's really happening. It's surreal. It's a little bit uncomfortable after last year and after the last 50 years, but they're in the playoffs, and I got to tell you, hand up, I was really nervous because you know, they were sitting there and they're 8-6 prior to last night, and you look at their last 3 games. Now, for another team or another organization that has a richer history and a more consistent history, you might say 3 games to go. Colts, Rams, Broncos. Cakewalk. We're in. Playoffs. Print the shirt. Print the hats. That's great. For the Chargers, I saw Colts, Rams, Broncos, and was terrified. I almost fell off my chair. As someone who, you know, I'm excited about the Chargers. I said, that is the worst thing I could possibly see. Don't show me the 3 easiest games you could possibly put on your schedule, because that means the Chargers are going to blow it. That's the storyline. Can you believe they had Rams, Colts, Broncos, and they lost? Sure, if they make sense, if their final 3 is Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, you get it. You tried, maybe try again next year. No, they had the easiest ever, and in a sort of backwards way. I didn't like that, because then you have this monumental collapse that everyone laughs at, and you mock them for it, and then it's just another page of the Chargers' history of charging things up. They didn't charger things up. And they won. They have won 3 in a row. Kind of feels good, doesn't it? In the quest to find this year's surprise team, sneaky team, reminiscent of the 2021 Bengals team that we've been trying to do forever, do they fit the mold? You got your front runners. Everybody's on Buffalo. Everybody's on Kansas City. Everybody's on Cincinnati. I've said it many times here in the basement. There's your classic big 3. There's going to be 4 other teams that make the AFC playoffs. The Chargers are one of them. Do you like the Chargers right now? Let me just give you the facts. They've won 3 in a row. Pretty good chance, despite what I just said, that they finished the season winning 5 in a row. They're currently the 6th seed in the AFC. They would play at Cincinnati. Could possibly jump the Ravens for the 5th, in which point they would maybe play at Jacksonville. All right? Joey Bosa set to return to practice this week. In my opinion, a top 5 pass rusher in the whole NFL, coming back just in time to get after whoever the hell it is. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, our guy Josh, Mahomes, whoever. Bosa looking like he's going to be back for the playoffs. Fantastic player. Their losses on their record. They're 9-6, right? They lost to the 49ers. They don't have to play them in the playoffs. They lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to the Chiefs. Everybody loses to the Chiefs, mostly everybody. They lost to the Chiefs by very, very narrow margins. They were game. Don't you want to see Justin Herbert in the damn AFC playoffs? Don't you want to see him there with the big guns and the young guns? It's great. It's going to be him. It's going to be Josh. It's going to be Burrow. It's going to be Mahomes. Herbert's in. The 6'6" guy with the hair out the back and the beautiful jersey and the huge arm, he's going to be in, and I'm into it. And I'm going to also make a pledge. I think everyone is guilty of this in this thing that we do, whether it's in a studio or sitting on a stool at a bar or if it's right here in the basement. I think everyone is guilty of judging the past of the Chargers and holding it against the present of the Chargers. I do it all the time. I did it 90 seconds ago. In the idea that you see that logo and it's a big game for the Chargers and you immediately start thinking about everybody from Phillip Rivers to the late Marty Schottenheimer to LaDainian Tomlinson to all these players who have had all these super talented Chargers teams and just blown it. And it's not fair, and it's stupid, and it's lazy, and it's easy to hold the Chargers' history against them. I'm not going to do it anymore. Justin Herbert has nothing to do with anything that went on during the Marty Schottenheimer era or any other era other than the last few years. Same thing for Brandon Staley. Love him, hate him, doesn't matter. He has nothing to do with the prior Chargers teams. I think they're one of those teams that we really look at their past and make fun of them for it, because there's been so many times they've come up short. Marty Schottenheimer had one of the most prolific regular seasons ever and was fired after the year because they went one and done in the playoffs. They've had some big bleep ups. I almost swore. That's how passionate I get about the Chargers. It has nothing to do with this Chargers team. This Chargers team says, oh, you think we're going to fall on our face? We had a really bad mess up last year. That was a terrible debacle we had in the last week of the season against the Raiders. Whatever, we learned. We got better from it. It's just after Christmas, and we already punched our playoff ticket. Screw Week 18. Screw Week 17. We're chilling. We're just going to find out what spot we're in. I like it. Because if you want this fast and furious AFC playoff schedule, it's great. Imagine how much more fun it's going to be to have the Chargers in rather than, I don't know, the Titans. Because it doesn't look like the Titans are getting in. This is young, electric, up and down the field, big arms, big throws. Did you see Derwin James last night? Oh, my God. I suddenly put on my NFL Rocks VHS tape from 1994 where you could still hit people like that. Troy Aikman is still talking about that. He couldn't believe what he saw. None of us could. It's fine. You don't want that in the playoff game, but you want Derwin James in the playoff game. You want Bosa. You want all those guys. I want Eckler. I want Staley. I want Herbert, and we're getting him. I'm very pleased that the Chargers did not charger this up. This is my last reference to their deep history. I could talk about last year, but I'm not talking about the 2000s, the 2010s, the 90s, the 80s. None of that. There will be no Stan Humphries, Lorenzo Neal, Natron Means, Leslie O'Neal. None of them will be mentioned. Nate Kading will not be mentioned on this program as it pertains to the 2022 Chargers. The only thing it will be is playoffs. They're in. Maybe they play the Bills. We'll find out. Let's get to what I hate. Come on now. Been stewing on this one for a couple of days and really a couple of years. I hate the discussion, the impression, and the reaction and the reputation of Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins. I mentioned earlier the Chargers are going to the playoffs. The Vikings are going to the playoffs. They have a prolific record. They're way out in front of the pack. They ran away with the NFC North. And I just want to tell everybody again, this is a safe place here in the basement. You can say that Kirk Cousins is good. No one will laugh at you. No one will judge you. No one will meme you. No one will block you. Not here. You can say that Kirk Cousins is excellent. No judgment here. In fact, applaud. That's what I do for you. I applaud that you can say Kirk Cousins is excellent. It's really putting yourself out there, I know. And everyone has decided that he is a dork who's overpaid and a choker who is just a passenger on the express around him, the Minnesota Vikings. It's also okay, I'm going to give you further permission, when Justin Jefferson makes a big catch in a game, and he makes a lot of them, it is okay for you to point out, wow, that was a hell of a throw. You can say that if you want. It's fine. You will not be dragged away. You will not lose your blue check mark. You will not be drawn and quartered. You can say it. It's all right. It's fine. It's possible also to compliment the Vikings quarterback and feel good about it. Here's what you should feel good about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the top 4 guy, not even 5, top 4 guy in passing yards and passing touchdowns. Kirk Cousins is in the middle of being hit more as a quarterback, more than any quarterback in the last 20 years. He gets destroyed. The sack numbers, the quarterback hits numbers, off the charts. Destroyed, and he keeps getting up. It's not something that's talked about. Kirk Cousins has a terrible defense. The Vikings defense statistically is just awful. They're really bad. Still not talked about. Pretty impressive that Kirk Cousins does that. And the idea that, well, you know, he's got Justin Jefferson, so, you know, anybody could be great with Justin Jefferson. Is that true? Are you sure about that? Do you think Justin Jefferson would be putting up the numbers that he is if he was on just pick any random team you can think of? If he was on the Arizona Cardinals? If he was on the Raiders? If he was on the Lions? I don't know if he was putting up those numbers if he was on the Packers. And yet, you know, Devontae Adams is a brilliant talent too, but we don't ever let anything be taken away from Rodgers because Rodgers is Rodgers. Well, you know what? Cousins is Cousins. He does not have a whole bunch of Super Bowl rings. Don't care. The conversation about Cousins and the prejudice against Kirk Cousins is because of a few things. High profile, primetime losses, the majority of which were years ago. Nerdy reputation, which came full circle when he was wearing the diamonds. How much money he makes, sorry, he's good at business and people like to pay him and they want to be in business with him. And that's pretty much it. Do you understand the hype and the attention around Kirk Cousins if he was the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, if he was the Eagles quarterback or the Giants quarterback? He's not. He's up there in Minnesota and everyone made up their mind about him years ago when he screamed "you like that." And listen, he's a really good player. And his fourth quarter numbers are prolific. Prolific. If you were to sit down and never seen the NFL before, ever, and maybe if you're really still making fun of Kirk Cousins or saying that he sucks, you haven't, I would suggest sitting down for a Vikings game maybe at about 3:15 p.m. Do that, because that's right around the time the fourth quarter will really be heating up, and you will watch Cousins play, and you will not see a better quarterback in the NFL in that juncture than Kirk Cousins. Fantastic. Should he be the MVP? I don't care. I don't really care about MVP discussions to begin with. But it's amazing to me that there is one going on about Jefferson, and no one even bothers to say, yeah, you know, for a receiver to do that, well, the quarterback must be great. No, it's Kirk Cousins. He sucks, and he's a nerd, and he listens to Creed, so don't talk about that. There was an Instagram post after the Vikings' last win in which they put up all these numbers offensively, and they put up these stats. And I think we have the post where they put this thing up, NFL Instagram. And there's Hawkinson and Jefferson next to each other, and they put up all their stats. And the NFL says, my employer says, what a performance by this Vikings duo. Were they throwing the ball themselves? I see 25 catches and over 240 yards and 3 touchdowns between Hawkinson and Jefferson. Really great players. There's no detraction from them. They can't do any of that unless the Cousins guy is chucking it to them on a dime. It's an amazing thing. Can he get any credit? No. None? Is it all Jefferson? You can put him out there with anybody. It's nonsense. I hate it. And listen, people don't want to hear that he won a playoff game in the Superdome. They just want to talk about all the times that he lost. And we'll see how it goes in the playoffs this year. If he goes 1-and-done, oh my God, it's going to be hellfire. And there will be no attention on Jefferson or Hawkins or anybody else. It'll be all on Cousins. But if he wins, if he goes into that wild card round, he knocks off one of these NFC teams, just take a second. It's okay to say, you know, Kirk Cousins played well. You can say that. You will not get an ether rag and be dragged away to a closet to be shut up so no one in the media can hear you. It is fine. It is safe. You can certainly say it here because you damn know well I will be saying it myself. I'll be doing it. That's what I hate. Let's get to what's hilarious. Come on now. You know what's hilarious is that Sean Payton is going to be the Broncos' next head coach. No, he's not. I really am not buying this, guys. I know that's all the rap that's everyone's talking about is that, okay, Sean Payton's waiting in the wings. Broncos just fired their coach. Put them together. No. Put yourself in Sean Payton's shoes. Don't put them together. Put yourself in his shoes. You're the belle of the ball. You're the guy. None of these other people, none of the D'Amico Ryans, the one we've been hearing about for years, Bieniemy, none of these candidates you're going to hear in the month of January, they got nothing on Payton. Those are all prospective candidates. Maybe they'll be a great head coach. Payton's a made guy. He's a friend of ours. He's going to sit around, he's going to name his price, he's going to pick his job, and then everyone's going to want him for it. That's it. He's going to be able to do it. So if you're Sean Payton and you're saying, oh man, do I have it made? Somehow my reputation has skyrocketed since I left. I did some good things in New Orleans, but since I left, I feel like I've just suddenly turned into Bear Bryant meets John Wooden meets Don Shula meets Bill Belichick, like the greatest coach ever. I'm just going to ride that out. So where should I go? Okay, so I got Indianapolis. We know that job's going to be open. Carolina, we'll see. We'll see what's going to go on there. And then there's always a surprise firing or two. But Denver, where should I go for Denver? All right, so let's just start with the basic thing. I'm going to be the Broncos head coach. Moving to Denver, people really like that city. It's beautiful. It's a high quality of life. I always comes up on those lists of like the most fit cities in America. So maybe that's a good thing. Broncos organization is a classic one. They have a Super Bowl history and pedigree, both old and recent, and I'm kind of into that. There is that one thing about the quarterback. Yeah, as an offensive guy who spent the bulk of my career with one of the most proficient and efficient and cerebral quarterbacks to ever play the game, Drew Brees, who will breakdance into the Hall of Fame someday, do I want to start phase 2 with one of the strangest athletes in any sport of this era, and a guy in Russell Wilson, a guy who clearly Pete Carroll was done coaching at the end of it and did not have great things to say and wasn't a huge fan of his. I don't know if the wide receivers like him. I don't know if the linemen like him. I don't really know if the fans like him. I don't know if he likes himself or whatever version of himself he's pretending to be at that point. That's what I want to do. Take away the personality. Maybe he's the greatest guy and the greatest leader in the world. Can he even play anymore? It looks really strange. Really strange. I mean, do you remember when like Carson Palmer showed up on the Raiders and you're like, dude, what happened to Carson Palmer? That's what Russell Wilson looks like in Denver, but worse. So Sean Payton, who can pick any job, is going to pick that. Also, we owe him tons of money. He's going to stay. We spent draft picks. Those are gone. And I'm still basically owned by the Saints, so I think we're going to have to spend more just to get me away from my old employer. Why would you do that? Adam Schefter is saying, also, it gets better, that Payton would want Vic Fangio as his defensive coordinator. Vic Fangio. So you're going to take that guy and bring him back to the place he was just fired as their head coach? Vic doesn't want to do that. Would Denver want to do that? That's odd. There's going to be some of the same players. It's a demotion. It's all just... It conflicts. There's so many things flying against it. What exactly is flying for it? Listen, if Denver says, name your price, and we will absolutely offend everyone in the world with how much we're going to pay you, I guess, Denver and Broncos country, let's ride. But no, why would he want to do that? Even if it was just the Russell Wilson thing. Do you see anybody lining up to coach Russell Wilson right now? I don't even think the Broncos want to keep Russell Wilson. They're doing it because they have to. Who would want to do that? That alone, I'm out. But the draft stuff, the Fangio stuff, there'll be other option stuff. I can draft my own quarterback. I can do whatever I want and build it in my own image. That's what Sean Payton's going to do. This could be the freezing cold take of all time. And we can play this back and Sean Payton's shaking hands with the Broncos brass and he's saying, let's ride with Russell Wilson. Maybe. I don't think so. And if he does, I can't wait to hear him explain why, other than the 50 zeros in the contract they paid him. That's it. Money, sure. But other than that, lots of luck. I find it hilarious that Payton would be going to coach Russell Wilson. You know what's not hilarious? You know what's just a fact? The guy everybody wants to coach. The guy that Sean Payton would cut off his arm to coach. But sorry, the job is taken. That's Josh Allen. Josh Allen is right over there. He's coming in. Let's get the dog and the movie posters and the big old headphones and some kind of hat because our guy in every Tuesday, sometimes Monday, number 17 for the Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Allen, get in here. That's what I'm talking about. There's our guy, live from Western New York, Josh Allen, looking good, looking warm. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good. That intro never gets old, by the way. I freaking love it.
It's fun, right? It's this old 8-bit Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet it is. Josh, it's like I feel like I'm on the red carpet right now. Josh, who are you wearing?
Yeah, this is my buddy Daniel Ricciardo, F1 driver. He's got his own line of gear, and every time something drops, I go on and I try to purchase as much stuff as possible because he sells out all of his merchandise. Like literally, it is picked from head to toe in every single size. So as soon as the drop, I get the email, I go straight to the website. I try to buy as much as I can.
Why is he your guy of all the drivers?
So, believe it or not, I went to Monaco Grand Prix a few years ago. And I met his strength coach. His name's Michael. And for some odd reason, they wanted to start watching NFL football, and they became fans of Buffalo. They were part of Bill's Mafia, and they actually purchased my jerseys before we had ever met each other. So it was just this weird kind of coincidence. And then his agent and my agent are like best friends. So we've got a connection there, and then we spent some time together, and I mean, he's awesome. I freaking love the dude. What a personality. After obviously watching Drive to Survive, everybody sees the type of person that he is and the energy that he has. So he's the same way off camera as he is on camera. It's really awesome to be one acquaintances, friend. Like we text each other quite a bit. I freaking love the dude.
Oh, that's awesome. And his stuff looks great. You look good in it. You look totally comfortable.
It is fantastic stuff. So go buy your Daniel Ricciardo merch.
No doubt. That's Josh's guy. Maybe you'll run into him again in the offseason. I'm glad you're here for a bunch of reasons. I need you to help me figure something out. We asked this in the basement yesterday. Guys, bring up the video. Somebody in your organization is out of their mind. Josh, who the hell is driving that car with the glacier on top of it? Who is that?
I wish I could tell you. I saw that video yesterday. I was just circulating around Twitter and all the other social media platforms, but I want to think that's Matt Milano, maybe.
Really?
Now, my car. I can send you a couple pictures of my car right now of what mine looked like. Again, I can't think. People, they came out. There was people that lived close by. There was like high school football players that came and dug our cars out. Obviously, with the weather and what's going on here in Buffalo, obviously we're praying for and thinking about all the families that are being severely impacted. It wasn't fun. I'll tell you that. Like obviously, staying in Chicago wasn't the greatest holiday gift. But we were assured when we got back to Buffalo that the driving conditions were safe to get home, and obviously everybody made it back to their places and got to spend some time with their families. But just really, really sad scenes right now coming out of Buffalo, and I'm praying for the city and for people that are being affected by this because it's not very good.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I do, and I saw that Steph tweeted something similar, and that the team's been doing this. And there's a lot of levity and fun that you guys have been through with the weather this season, but there's a very serious side of what's going on in Western New York right now. And I know it means a lot to hear that from you. Take me to Chicago. So there's a whole game aspect of it, and you guys go get this big win against the Bears. But then take me into this world, because as far as I understand it, you were supposed to come home after the game on Saturday night, which was Christmas Eve. And then because Buffalo's airport shut down, you couldn't. How did you find out, and what was that whole process like?
Yeah, obviously the game had just ended. We're in the locker room, and typically coach will break it down right away. He wasn't there right away, and I think guys just like, okay, I think we understand what's going on. And again, the organization, they were doing everything in their power to get us home safely because, our families, our friends are here in Buffalo, and obviously the holidays are a special time that you want to spend with them. But again, safety being first, being smart about, where we were flying, how we were going to get back. Obviously the roads weren't in great condition. But again, when we landed the next day in Rochester, one, to see a bunch of Bills fans there, that was pretty cool. And then two, making our way back, in a safe manner. I think that was of the utmost importance for obviously our organization's ideas and thoughts, and just trying to keep players safe.
It's the safety is first, and you guys accomplished that. You end up having to stay the night in my hometown of Chicago overnight. So I imagine the silver lining, everyone wants to be home, but you're there with your brothers, you're there with your team. So you go out and you make a night of it best as you can. Whose idea was it? Who was the ringleader? And where did you guys go? What'd you do?
Yeah, we Chad Hall, our receivers coach, had talked to me right after the game. It was just like, hey, I know a few people that are connected, and have a bar here in Chicago that we could potentially go to. So I call I'm shouting out Barstool Big Cat right now. I called him, and he hooked me up with the owner, and we kind of figured out a way to get a few people in to serve for us. And the Bills, we wanted everybody there in the organization that, wanted to spend time together, obviously the holidays. So it was just a way to be with our family away from our family. So it was a really, really fun night that we tried to keep the vibes high and keep our minds off of what was going on. But it was, I appreciate those guys for opening up for us, and the owner there and helping us have a good time.
Were you tending bar? We're seeing a picture of you behind bar. Did you sling drinks?
I was, little short staff, so I had to help out in any way I could,
Do you know how to do that? Like, have you ever bartended or anything, or like even waited tables or anything? It's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I waited tables at my mom's restaurant for a while. And again, I grew up in a household where we had a bar outside, a bar inside, a bar upstairs. Like I was always serving drinks
So
to
cool.
family and friends. So, but it was the first time I got to use one of those little fountain things, which you see them grab a drink and then press soda. I thought that was pretty cool. That was on my bucket list that I got to cross off.
Hell yes. So if you grew up having bars in your house and working bars, put it this way: if I was to sit down across from a bar with you right now, and you were just going to make something, you're like, you're going to love this. This is a drink I just kill. You're going to absolutely love this. What would you make?
Oh, I don't know about all that. I'll give you. I don't know. I got some good whiskey. I'll just serve you whiskey neat.
Nice. Is that your drink? Is that your go-to? And is it bourbon, scotch? What are you into?
Yeah, I'm a bourbon guy right now, and I think it kind of goes and flows. Um, I don't drink often, but I like to have friends over, and I like to host, and
Sir.
that's a common trade in a lot of different people's lives and cultures, and it's pretty cool.
Hell yeah, it is. And bourbon neat is undefeated. It can't be beaten. It's timeless. It'll be drinking 100 years from now. We should, dude. Let's have a bourbon neat sometimes. I'm totally into it. That's my drink too.
Next time you're in Buffalo, we'll open up a good bottle. I got
Oh,
some
hell
good ones
yes.
that have been gifts that are on the top shelf in my basement
Hmm.
that I won't open until something really good happens, and I think we all know what that is in February.
So do you have? I mean, you have a special bottle in the event that you need and you accomplish all your goals and you celebrate. There's a particular bottle for that.
Yes, there is.
What's
Yeah.
the bottle?
It's a Michter's 20 year. I was sent a couple by a couple of my buddies that I went to open it one night, and I just wanted to Google it just because I just got into kind of the bourbon game, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to Google it to make sure I wasn't opening something crazy, and I decided to put it back and not open it. So that one's up there, and
Mm.
that one's a good one. I got a few more other ones, obviously, but we accomplished our goals. It'll be a good time.
That's going to be a great time. I love that you have that bottle, and you should. Why not? Leave it up there. You get it all done. You treat yourself. You've earned it. Quickly on the Bears game. My favorite play of the game was you guys, fourth quarter, red zone. You call a bootleg. You hit the Jets. Great looking touchdown. Did you even consider throwing on that play?
I did. I want to throw it. I think it was either Dawson or Gabe that was running. Obviously, they kind of took that away and just it's really the throw or the run, and just try to find a way to score touchdowns. Actually, didn't play as good as I would like to have played.
I understand.
Whether, when, this, that, it is what it is. We persevered, but our defense stepped up. They played a hell of a game. Our special teams played a heck of a game, and just found a way to win. And obviously, that's third AFC East title in a row. Obviously, that's fun. It's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to win in this league, and you want to celebrate those times. But we've been in this situation before, and we've got bigger goals to accomplish. And I know it's a hat and t-shirt game, and I said it after the game. I'm tired of these hats and t-shirts. I don't want the AFC East ones anymore. I want some other ones, and that's the mindset that our team has right now.
It's true. I mean, it's probably really cool the first time you get the AFC East one, and oh my God, the Bills won the East, and you're so happy. Third time through, you got your eye on some different shirts and hats. I totally get it. Before we put the Bears to bed, there was an interesting article in the Chicago Tribune, and it was about Justin Fields. And I know you love quarterbacks, and I saw you talk to him after the game. And the idea was Josh Allen is what Justin Fields could become in a few years. These are big athletes who run well and throw well. Do you see that in him? Do you see the kind of potential to do what you're doing right now in Fields?
Well, again, I think everybody's their own guy. I don't think he's going to be the next me. I think he's going to be the next him.
Yeah.
And he's a special talent. He really is. He can spin the rock. Obviously, you see what he can do in the open field running wise. And, as quarterbacks, we don't want to be known as running quarterbacks. We want to be quarterbacks that can run. And obviously, that's the progression that is next for him. And, I got no doubt that, he'll be there. He's a special talent, and he seems like a really good kid, and the organization and the teammates love him. He works hard. He doesn't complain. So yeah, I'm obviously pulling for him. I'm a big fan of his.
You always make the point he's trying to be the next Justin Fields, not the next Josh Allen. When you were coming up, was there a name that you would hear like Josh Allen could project to be this or be the next this? Were people trying to put you in a mold?
Well, I think in Buffalo it was the next Jim Kelly. I think everybody here kept saying that, and obviously just because of how high I was drafted and comparing that to him, and obviously the success that Jim had here, and the legacy that he still holds, and it's really cool. I've been able to obviously develop a relationship with Jim, and he's freaking awesome. He texts me all the time, and we've shared a lot of laughs together, some dinners, and some charity stuff, and he does so much good for the community and the battles and the stuff that he's gone through and the support that Buffalo's given him and the love that he's given back. It's been really awesome. But I think that's probably the biggest name that I've been compared to here.
It's a great comparison. I know Jim a little bit too. Back to the whiskey thing, not a newcomer to the bourbon like you are. Like Jim can hang and he can throw them back, dude.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it in person. So he's awesome.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Talking about comps and comparisons and quarterback stuff. After that Bears game, there's this really cool thing that went out, and the Bills helped put it out. You had your 172nd total touchdown, 172, and you passed Dan Marino as the most ever in the first 5 years of a career. And there's a list, and it's Peyton, and it's Patrick Mahomes, and all these people, but it's Marino, and it's you. It's got to be a pretty cool moment for you, for the kid who grew up playing football in the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool stat. I think the reason, like, my job is to score touchdowns. That's the job of the quarterback, to lead, offenses on touchdown drives. And I guess I'm doing my job. Obviously, there's some things that I wish I could have back, and some turnovers that I wish didn't happen. But at the end of the day, like, it's cool. But I'm just trying to win football games.
When does the moment come, Josh, where you're like, hell yeah, what I just did is amazing. I'm awesome. My team's awesome, but also I've worked my ass off and I'm awesome. When is that moment? Because you are almost maddeningly modest. And I think it's a great trait in a quarterback, but there's got to become a moment where you're like, bleep, yeah, I did this.
Yeah, February 14th.
Valentine's Day?
No, I believe or is it the 13th this year?
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl.
Is it in Arizona?
Yeah, that's where it would be. So that's the moment I could, if we can accomplish our goals, and that's our goal that we set out to do every single year. But until we get one of those, that's nothing else on my mind.
When people are actors or they're in any profession, they kind of dream about winning the Oscar. I used to give the Oscar speech in the mirror when I was like 21 and stupid and stuff. Either when you were a kid or now, do you dream about or think about like what you'll say in that moment if you could accomplish your goals? And they say, Josh Allen, you were a Super Bowl champion. How does it feel? Do you think about that in your head?
Yeah, I know exactly what I would say.
Do you?
And I can't tell you what I can't tell you what I would say until we're in that moment, but
of course.
Yeah, I've thought about it and I dream about it. And even as a kid, like I had this book, and it was like the picture book where you put your picture on the back, and it just kind of, every page was different, and it was on the football field. And at the end, it was like you're on the team's shoulders and you just won the big game. And that's something I'll never forget. And it's something still, like, as a kid, I dreamt about that moment, and I still continue to dream about that moment.
You have it locked and loaded. You know exactly what you're going to say. How long have you had it? Like, when did you know, someday when I can do this, this is what I'm going to say? How far back does it go?
When I got into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And obviously, like, being here in Buffalo, like, maybe it would have altered what I would have said if I was somewhere else, but because it's here and I love this place, it's unique. It's for Buffalo.
That's awesome. Dude, you have the speech, you have the drink, and now, you just got to put the work in, and I know you will. It's very cool. I'm excited for you. I also know you love football. We talk about it every single week. Your very first playoff game, you lost in part to J.J. Watt, who announced that he's going to be done today. This is going to be his last ride. After this season, he's done. What's it like to hear that news?
Again, a guy that's been in the league for quite some time now, and he's dominated for as long as he's been in the league. I saw a stat, his Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm sure he's won a couple of them, but there was one year he had 20 and a half sacks and so many tackles for loss that he scored 5 touchdowns, and he had a couple interceptions that were returned. Like just like a unbelievable career, Hall of Fame career. Obviously he was in the running to come here to Buffalo a couple years ago. It didn't work out. But congrats to him. Hats off to him for having the career he did. I know he just, had a child and got married in the last couple of years too. So, got a lot of life to live after football. And, as long as he's happy with the decision, I'm personally happy that I don't get to play him. I don't have to play him anymore. So that's
no doubt, dude. It is a win. Elsewhere in the AFC East, I know you have a huge affection for Tua. We've talked about Tua a lot this year. Tua's going through it, and he's being put in the protocol again. And there's this whole discussion about the Dolphins are on the cusp of a playoff bid, but they should just shut him down and they should put him away and they should take care of him. It's such an unsavory story because it's such a good guy. When you hear about this or when you see the headlines, how does it make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a delicate situation. There's nothing to mess with. Head injuries are nothing to mess with, and I know that we've been kind of branded as reckless in football. I mean, again, it's grown men that are running at high speeds, hit each other, and trying to beat up on each other and win a football game. And again, there's more to life than football at the end of the day. But part of me too is like, I know what I signed up for.
Yep.
And I understand like this could be part of the game. Like it's the consequences sometimes of our actions. It's our own bed that we made and we got to lay in it sometimes. I know what I would be feeling, as a competitor wanting to go back out there. But again, like there's certain times where you're going to have someone else save you from yourself. And I don't know if this is that type of situation. And again, nobody knows, but really, how he feels, but himself. And sometimes you're going to have to make some really tough decisions. And again, who knows what happens? I'm praying for him because again, he is such a good person, and he's a hell of a football player. So again, it's so tricky. It's so delicate. No one has the right to say anything about the situation except really him and his loved ones and who he's talking with. And it sucks. It's a product of what we play and the game that we chose to, put our lives on the line for. And it's tough. It really is.
It is. And I know you feel for him. And I know you're rooting for him. I join you in that. Josh, before we talk movies, really cool game this weekend. It's Bills Bengals. It's really fun. You've never played against them before in the Joe Burrow era. It's 2 cool quarterbacks. It's the AFC champions versus the AFC East champions. What has you fired up about this game?
Well, that's our next one. Monday night, that's always fun to play in. It seems like the weather is going to be nice. Finally, I feel like we haven't had a good weather game in quite some time now. That could change. Who knows? But if it does, we'll adjust. And I know Joe quite a bit. Obviously, we both trained with Jordan Palmer, and we've hung out quite a bit, and got a lot of respect for him and his game. And obviously, the adversity that he hit in year one with tearing his ACL and coming back and just really lighting the league on fire. So he's a special talent. He really is, and we're going to have our hands full. It's a defense, too, that is playing lights out. They got a linebacker over there that I know pretty well, Logan Wilson, who's one of the stud linebackers in the league. And I'm so happy for him and his success. And he's such a great dude, too. So it'll be fun to compete against him in real life instead of in practice back in Laramie.
Look, great dude, great former teammate. You might have to truck him, dude. You might just have to lower your shoulder to get to the sticks. You know it.
I think he's too big. He's too big for me to take on. I'll probably slide if I see him in the open field. So he's too big, too fast.
Tell him you'll slide now, but then in the moment you jump over him and see you later.
Big brain.
All right. All right, we got to get Josh out of here, but first we have to talk movies because we have the first ever Josh Allen Film Festival double feature. This goes back a few weeks. If you're just watching this now, Josh has watched movies for months that he's never seen before that are important to me and to the world. Josh, let's start with the Kurt Russell Western named Tombstone. Did you watch, and your thoughts on this film?
I did, and I thought it was awesome. My favorite character was Doc Holliday.
Let's go.
Kilmer absolutely killed it. Like, obviously, like it. You have to pay attention at the start of the film because it kind of explains why they're in Tombstone. It's obviously in Arizona, and he had been battling tuberculosis, and I really wasn't quite sure. And that's kind of an older disease. But that scene where he's supposed to go duel. What's his name?
Johnny Ringo.
Johnny Ringo, that's right.
Yeah.
When he's supposed to go duel, when Kurt Russell's supposed to go duel Johnny Ringo, and all of a sudden Doc shows up, and he was basically lying. He's like, I wasn't. Maybe I didn't feel as bad as I was leading on, and he freaking takes care of business. And obviously they hunt down all the cowboys. Like, and at the end, again, it's such a good love story too with Kurt Russell and the actress there.
Oh yeah.
It was. I really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, it's an older Western movie, and some of the theatrics and the the shootout scenes aren't as high quality as you want. But again, for when that movie was made, I think it was pretty awesome. I'm giving it a B+.
B+, we'll take it. And you learn the origin. I'm sure you've heard it before. I'm your Huckleberry. Like that's where that comes from. Yes,
and tell them I'm coming and I'm bringing hell with me. That was such a good story too.
You tell them the law is coming. Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
You have that. You do these great videos sometimes on Insta. That is a great clip to use, like for when the playoffs start, and like you tell them I'm coming. Like that one could like absolutely kill. But we have a double feature. Our buddy Liam, who was in here with us last week, coolest little kid ever, like a champion in a million senses. He wanted you to watch Avatar and the original, not the one that just came out, the OG original Avatar, which you had never seen. Liam and everybody wants to know, did you watch it? And what do you think?
I did. I absolutely loved it. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Obviously, a super long movie, but the plot of it, obviously the picture, the sound, like it's such a. And I'm so happy that I watched it now, so I can watch the second one. But like, them destroying the big tree, and now all of a sudden, like everybody's got to leave, and he goes back in the Avatar suit and joins their side. It made me want to be a part of them too, and you got the little hair connector, which I didn't realize what that was, and it took me. Obviously, I hadn't watched it. This is an old movie, but one of my best friends had been telling me to watch this movie for so long, and I finally watched it. We get to talk about it, but like. It was awesome. It was an A+. Like I freaking loved it. I can't wait to watch the second one. I know it's out right now. Wow. It was pretty sweet.
Oh my God, that's great. Liam's gonna be thrilled to hear that. Josh wants one of those sweet hair connector things. Liam, great job, man. You got an A+. That's perfect. All right, we got to go, but I got to assign you the movie.
We got to drop.
What do you got?
Before we get rid of Avatar, when he drops on the big freaking dragon like that. That was pretty badass. When he's got to show his worth and try to get back in the gang. That was awesome.
When he tames that giant orange one, he's like, "No, this is my ride," and then he's like the leader of the tribe. It's good.
Yeah. And then at the end, like obviously, like the whole connected to like the roots, and it was like a connected, like a single connected organism where they can talk to the trees and talk to ancestors and stuff like that. But then his body transformed into the Avatar. Like it was just extremely well done. I'm excited for the second one.
See, I'm so glad to hear it. And now I changed my mind. I feel like when you start the playoffs, your video should be like you mounting that giant orange thing with your teammates. And like, now we're going to run. You guys are blue too. So like, it kind of works too.
Kind of works.
All right.
Kind of works.
I'm going to give you my favorite movie of all time. Have you ever seen 1999's Boogie Nights starring Mark Wahlberg?
No, I have not. Mark.
Josh, we're breaking the rules. Yes, it's Marky Mark. This did not come out before you were born, but it's my favorite movie ever. It's about the pornography industry in the 1970s in LA. I'm telling you, It is a game changer, and I'm taking a risk. I don't know if it's going to land for you, but it's so much going on, and there's so many great. Your boy John C. Reilly from Step Brothers is in it. He plays an adult film star. You're going to love it.
All right, I'm in.
Okay. Josh Allen will watch Boogie Nights. He will play the Bengals. He loves Tombstone, and maybe this movie that you're starring in will also end in Arizona in February, and you can accomplish all your goals, buddy. I'm hoping for you, and we'll see you next week, man.
Sounds good. Thank you, Cal. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
See you, Josh. Good luck, man. Happy New Year.
See ya.
That's our guy. That's our guy. Always been our guy. Always be our guy. And today he was incredible. Big, big game this weekend. We will be watching. We will be talking next week. But before we do that, we throw a dart. Now, I throw a dart after each and every show. It's kind of how we wrap it up. It hits a random number, and there's a topic that corresponds to that number. And then I ad-lib a little ditty about it, and I say goodbye. I haven't read the fine print of this agreement. Go to the Skycam for a second. I read the fine print for the first time today in the little production notes. And there's a little note that says, whatever number you hit, that's what you have to talk about. But if you hit a bullseye, you being me, I can just end the show and there's no work to be done. I didn't know that. I would have just been ripping off bullseyes for weeks now. I didn't know that was the understanding between us. Now that I do, I'm going to serve up bullseyes and I'm going to go upstairs. I'm in the basement right now. If I hit a bullseye, I'm going upstairs. You guys don't know I'm really, really good at darts. I've just been messing around, but I didn't know there's something at stake. It's a little weird that I do it at this angle, but here comes a bullseye. 3, 2, 1. Ah, it's close. It was close. I'll get a bullseye tomorrow. It was not a bullseye. It was a 2. A 2 down there in that bottom left corner. So I'll return to the main cam. Embarrassing childhood memory. What am I, on the psychiatrist couch right here? Number 3, relationship with your father. Embarrassing childhood memory. Where do I start? A couple of things I don't think are appropriate to say here on the Omaha Productions airwaves, if we're still calling them that. Yeah, some bad ones. Some really bad ones. Man, I have a couple that are just crude. I feel like for the first time, I'm legitimately stumped. I remember once, I have this thing that, as an adult, that based on some of the strange experiences I've had in my career, most notably The Real World and 3.5 years on Days of Our Lives, that I'm almost impervious to embarrassment. It's like a superpower where something I do in a social faux pas or certainly on camera that might be embarrassing for other people, I kind of just play right through it. And I think I've developed this thick, calloused skin from all the crazy, dumbass experiences I had on MTV and NBC. But back in the day, I remember I was at a movie theater with my parents, and we were seeing the movie Willow. And this is back in the 80s, and they make a show of it now, and you can watch it, and it's Warwick Davis is back. But I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of Willow, and they don't have theater-style seating back then, it was just flat, and we were on the last row. So I had to climb over the back of the chair, and instead of going down the aisle, go to the bathroom, I come back, and when I came back to climb back over the chair in the middle of the movie to get into my seat, and Mad Mardigan's doing his thing up there, there was like this little broom and little dustbin that the custodian had leaned against it or something. And in climbing back over, I tripped on the dustbin, fell over like head over heels. The dustbin goes rattling really loud on this like linoleum floor or whatever it is, and I fall on the ground on top of drinks and soda and like nachos and everything. It made a really weird, really loud noise, and everybody turned in the middle of Willow and looked at this kid with these giant glasses, who then stood up and was like covered and all like wet with soda and nacho cheese, and it was just absolutely horrible. And then the worst part was, I was there with my dad, and then since I was so messed up and covered in crap, then we had to go out again to get me cleaned up, and instead of going back over the chair, we did go down the aisle and did the excuse me, knee knocking thing, and it was in the middle of an important part of the movie. Just horrible. I'm getting pissed off right now talking about it. What a clumsy little dummy. But that was it. I hope that was happy for you. I'm glad I hit that number 2 on the dartboard. Seeing Willow, which I think is 87, and getting nacho cheese and soda all over me and embarrassing myself. But I haven't been embarrassed since, and I've done plenty of stuff that should warrant it. Not today, though, my friends. I'm out of here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Josh. Thank you to everybody. Love you, miss you. Please exit through the garage, close the door on your way out. See ya.